But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
Because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior.
So what you mean to tell me is that we got y'all so mad, right? We have them so mad right now that we haven't been out there protesting, and they haven't been able to call us all types of whatever names and attack us and then say that it's our fault because we were being violent and aggressive. And so our silence has them so mad that they are just being blatantly racist at this time.
So they moved on from DEI pretty quickly. Pretty soon here, they're going to be calling us the N-word outright again. Or I should say they're going to try to do it. They've attempted to colonize this word. This is no different in their interpretation of it than white guilt, black privilege, black victimhood, etc. We haven't been out protesting. We've been at home. We've been boycotting, etc. Minding our business. And yet these people always find a way to talk about us. Always worried about us. They cannot leave us alone. It's so funny because they keep saying shit like this, like they're going to do something. What are you going to do? You have a problem, then I suggest you solve it. Otherwise, shut the fuck up, because you guys are pussies. They're just trying to bait us. They're just mad because we're so unbothered. But this is what racists like to do.
And you know what? I'm going to use the hashtag Black Fatigue so that the whites making that content see this video. Black fatigue already has a meaning, and it's not the one that you think it is. Black fatigue means the emotional toll, the exhaustion inherent in living under systemic racism and having to deal with that shit day in and day out and live in a society and a culture that is, the deck is stacked against you and the rules are made to discriminate against you and make your fucking life harder. That is what that phrase means. You are co-opting that phrase and making it into something fucking... Just say what you fucking mean. All the people who really genuinely seem to believe that their First Amendment rights include the right to avoid any kind of social consequences for the things that they say and get so fucking butthurt about their fucking free speech. Let me tell you, they understand. They understand that they are going to have social consequences from the shit that they say. Some of them do anyway, which is why they co-opt phrases like black fatigue.
Black fatigue is a term that non-black people are using to express the fact that they are sick and tired of being held accountable for saying and doing whatever the hell they want to black people. They're sick and tired of black people bucking up at the system, bucking up at people, telling people, hey, you shouldn't be saying that to us. Hey, you cannot do this to us. Hey, we will not let you disrespect us. Hey, we will not let you say whatever you want and do what you want to us. People are sick and tired of being told no. That is what black fatigue is. You guys are being told no and you don't like it, especially white people. Y'all not used to black people telling you no. You don't like that.
Here are 50 things that have given me white fatigue, and the list could go on, but here are just 50.
What we are witnessing is a battle of definitions, two completely different understandings of what the term black fatigue means. And depending on which side of the conversation you stand on, the implications are either deeply rooted in systemic injustice or dangerously dismissive and racist. The original meaning of black fatigue speaks directly to the lived experience of being black in a world that is still profoundly shaped by systemic racism. It's not just a catchy term or some new age buzzword. It's a real, painful phenomenon. It refers to the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion that black people carry from constantly having to navigate a society that was not built for their success, their protection, or their healing. This kind of fatigue is the result of walking into a room and immediately being seen as a threat. It's the exhaustion of knowing that statistically you are less likely to get a fair trial, less likely to be hired, or more likely to be underpaid, overpoliced, and targeted. It's the emotional weight of watching your people being unalived on camera and the world still finding ways to justify it. Black fatigue is not about inconvenience, it's about survival. But now, there's another version of black fatigue that's being pushed by people who are not black, mostly white individuals, and it flips the entire meaning of its head. In this version, black fatigue is not about what black people are enduring. It's about how tired white people are of being called out for racism. It's about how uncomfortable they feel when they are asked to examine their privilege or hold themselves accountable for their words and actions. This redefinition is a complete distortion of the term.
Parents calling the police on black people for just existing, mass shooters being described as troubled young men, cultural appropriation without any appreciation, white people in locks talking about spirituality, all lives matter, I don't see color, white creators becoming famous for watered down versions of black culture, profiting off of black trauma on social media, weaponizing white tears, white savior complexes in real life and movies. I have a black friend as a get out of racism free card, white teachers punishing black students for being disruptive, gentrification marked as urban revitalization, being followed in grocery stores like you don't belong, police called because someone looks suspicious, white-led DEI training with no actual change, white people going viral for dances black people made, why is it always about race with you, the obsession with controlling black hair, the criminalization of AAVE in schools and work, centering whiteness in conversations that aren't about them, singing the N-word because it's just a lyric, the legacy of colonization and pretending it's ancient history, slavery being taught as a necessary evil, internment camps being brushed over in history class, the Trail of Tears being summarized in a paragraph, mass incarceration of black and brown people, Confederate flags being called heritage, get over it was a long time ago, white people crying in HR and getting people fired, white tears when equity feels like a loss of power, denying white privilege when benefiting from it, whitewash media stories, white-run nonprofits helping black communities while not listening, demanding emotional labor while doing none themselves, wearing blackface as a joke, screaming reverse racism like it's real, appropriating AAVE, using it wrong, watching black playing like it's a Netflix genre, MLK quotes using to shame black protests, demanding calm from oppressed people while being violent, policing tone instead of hearing truth, stolen land turned into suburbs and golf courses, white men running diversity campaigns, asking can I touch your hair like it's normal, white people calling things ghetto while profiting from the aesthetic, voting for oppression and acting shocked by the results when everyone fucking told you so, posting black squares thinking that that's activism, not all white people when no one gaffs, and thinking black fatigue is about you.
Some people say they're tired of black people playing the victim. They're tired of hearing about racism. They say we are always complaining, always blaming the system, always making excuses, but here's what they fail to recognize. The system is the problem, and calling out a broken system is not playing the victim, it's fighting for justice. By hijacking the term black fatigue and using it to describe their own discomfort, these individuals are doing something dangerous. They are not just misunderstanding the term, they are weaponizing it to avoid accountability. They want to turn the spotlight away from their actions and onto our supposed deficiencies. They say it's not about race, it's about behavior. They talk about being tired of what they call ghetto, ratchet, or hood behavior. They talk about loudness, the way people dress, the slang, the attitudes. But here's what's really happening. They are using cultural differences to justify stereotypes. They are policing behavior in a way that targets black people without saying it outright. When they say, I'm not racist, I'm just tired of ignorance, what they really mean is, I'm tired of being called out. They want to point to specific individuals and say, that's the problem with your whole community. But when we do the same, when we point out patterns of discrimination, of profiling, of abuse of power, suddenly we are divisive or too sensitive.
Why is racism coming back? More buzzwords to justify it. The newest one is black fatigue. Before that, it was DEI. You understand there's never anything good enough for these races, right? Let's explain what black fatigue actually is. Black fatigue is actually a book on how racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit and explores systemic racism and its effect on black people. These racists aren't even smart enough to know the definitions of the words they're using, such as DEI. Why are we giving them any attention? And why are they increasing in number? Most people that are racist have zero black friends, have never interacted with a black person in their life, but they're somehow racist still because they're chronically online. You chronically online people need to get a life. Yeah, you're chronically online. No wonder you're so scared and angry at everything all the time, and you're looking for an outlet. And for some reason, that expression comes to making up some new crazy buzzword to be obsessed with a group of people that have no idea who you are and have never thought about you, but your entire thought process is on them. We're actually talking about race in 2025 and justifying 5-year-olds getting called slurs with autism. What? And I go outside in real life and none of y'all are outside. They're chronically online. But go ahead, keep dropping your videos. We're gonna find out who you are.
Well, let's talk. This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, minding my own business, just getting lost in the videos, and a white woman pops up in my algorithm and it's titled Black Fatigue. And I'm like, this should be interesting. Now, this is a creator that I've really grown to respect their videos. Basically, in her video, she's calling out the Black community for different ignorant things that we do. And it's not just her. I've seen a lot of white people on this app kind of come out. It's almost like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George type of videos. And that's what they're doing toward Black people. Here's the thing. The videos that I've personally seen is not racism. It's accountability. It's one of those to where they are tired. They are fed up to where they have opened their camera and they start confessing the things that agitate them about the Black community. And because we have gotten to that point, you know who I blame? The Black community. I mean, for one, the actions that they are mentioning is clearly from the Black community. Black people in the comment sections are just like, this is racism, this is this, and this is this. I blame y'all. This is what happens when the Black community cry wolf or cry racism in instances that's not racism, to where now we have a hard time knowing the difference between what is actually racism and what is actually accountability. We've allowed this to happen because we do not like being held accountable for some of the ignorance, some of the degeneracy, some of the just plain right foolishness that comes out of our community. We refuse to address it. And when we have people who address it, they are called coons. They are called like judgmental. And so now you have white people entering the chat and said, you know what? We're tired of it. We're tired of being called racist for holding y'all accountable to the ignorant things that's happening.
And let's talk about accountability. There's a narrative going around that Black people don't hold each other accountable, that we make excuses for bad behavior, that every time someone critiques the Black community, they get called a coon or a sellout. But the truth is, internal accountability is happening. It's always happening. We just don't put it on display for white audience to feel comfortable. But what we won't accept is outsiders using our internal struggles as weapons against us. That's not accountability. That's exploitation. And let's be real. When non-Black people talk about Black fatigue, what they often mean is they are exhausted from being told no. They are not used to being challenged. They are not used to having their behavior checked. They are not used to Black people pushing back. So instead of facing the discomfort of growth, they twist the narrative. They claim victimhood in the face of accountability. They say, I can't say anything anymore without being called racist. But if what you're saying isn't racist, why are you so worried? Why is the default reaction defensiveness instead of reflection? Let's also address the notion that pointing out certain behavior in the Black community is always met with resistance. That's not entirely true. What people are actually tired of is the selective focus. The microscope is always zoomed in on Black people's flaws, never on the systems that create and sustain them. Why is there such a deep obsession with the way we speak, dress, or act in public, but no energy to challenge the systemic issues that shape our environment? It's not about bonnets in public. It's about generational poverty, lack of resources, and historical disenfranchisement. It's not about being loud. It's about centuries of being silenced. It's not about pants sagging. It's about an education system that's failed us, a justice system that's criminalized us, and a media that demonize us. This fixation on behavior is a distraction. It allows people to point fingers at Black individuals without acknowledging their own complicity in upholding systems that breed those behaviors. It's much easier to say, why don't you clean your own neighborhood, than to ask, why was your neighborhood underfunded for decades? It's easier to say, why are you always angry, than to ask, what happened to make you feel this way? And then there's the narrative that Black people use racism as an excuse, that we cry racism too often, that we water it down. But here's the thing, if you lived in our skin, even for a day, you would understand that racism isn't an excuse. It's a reality. If anything, many Black people downplay racism just to get through the day. We don't always report it. We don't always comfort it. We endure it silently because calling it out every time would be exhausting. So when we speak up, it's not because we want attention. It's because we've had enough. To those saying they have Black fatigue because they are tired of the conversation around race, imagine how tired we are of living it. Imagine how tired we are of being expected to educate, to explain, to smile, to forgive, to conform, to be twice as good just to get half as far. You want to talk about fatigue? Try carrying generational trauma while trying to thrive in a system designed for your failure. Try watching your people being caricatured, criminalized, and unalived, and still being told the problem is you. Try succeeding and still being seen as the exception. That's fatigue. It's important that we don't allow people to rewrite the meaning of Black fatigue just because they're uncomfortable with being called out. Language matters. Definition matters. When we allow racist or bigoted people to redefine our pain as their own burden, we are letting them flip the script. We need to protect our language, our experiences, and our truths. And for those within the Black community who are frustrated with behaviors that harm our image or progress, that's valid. Guys, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are about Black fatigue. And also remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.